Hari Om, Jai Jhulelal, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Ram, and Merry Christmas to all our viewers in all different parts of the world. A hearty welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us in this busy end of year season. Today we have a very interesting speaker. We have Dr. Vedavati Purandare from Pune. She's a consultant physician and diabetologist at Chelaram Diabetes Institute, Pune, since 12 years. She has done her MBBS and her MD medicine from BJ Medical College, Pune. Also, she is a doctor. She has done her PhD medicine. In her doctoral thesis, her main subject was focusing on diabetes and kidney disease. Dr. Purandare has received the Dhirubhai Ambani Scholarship, and she's also authored several scientific publications in national as well as international medical journals. We warmly welcome Dr. Vedavati Purandare. Taking up the panelists, we have Hina. Sorry, Hina Shahadatpuri. Okay, that is an unusual surname. Hina Shahadatpuri is a microbiologist and medical lab technician by education, but she is more of a humanist and a philanthropist, having worked actively in all different fields of social work for the last 30 years, whether it's educational, medical, social empowerment, and or any sort of social work. Dr. Srimati Hina is always there at the forefront. She's also actively promoting Sindhi culture through her YouTube channel, which is, it's called Diler Se Sindhi. And she's also got a website called Uttam Kalakar, where she promotes artists all over the world to display their artwork. And that's how she supports artists and their work. Through the COVID pandemic also, she was at the forefront of helping many people around India who are lacking basic necessities. So we warmly welcome Hina. And now we will have our second panelist, who is Rashmi Vasudevan. She's an educationist and currently the principal, the headmistress of the Vibgyor School in Pune. She's a pioneer in the education industry, having worked over 22 years in this field. She has had tenures in Jammu and Kashmir, in Mao, Bihar, in Madhya Pradesh, Delhi, Chennai, Mathura. So she has traveled widely all over India, and she has a pulse on the national educational scene. She has imparted both ICSE and CBSE curriculums, which are both the best Indian curriculums, the central board. Currently, of course, I said she's in Pune working as a principal of Vibgyor School, but she has also been the headmistress of Aditya Birla Public School in Jodhpur, as well as a military residential school in Pune. She is from a military background herself. Her husband, brother, and son are all part of the army. So a warm welcome to all our speakers today. And now we will warmly welcome Dada Dayal Harjani to welcome our panelists as well and to say a few words. Welcome, Dada.
Namaskaram, Rasheen. Namaskaram to all our guests of honor and panelists. Are they there on board? Can we see them or what?
Yes, sir.
Namaskaram. All well?
Namaskaram.
You finally made it, huh? Okay, before we start the Q&A session, I would like to share what we traditionally call Man Ki Baat. And today's topic is going to be Badalte Rishte, means changing relationships. It's very interesting to know how relationships keep on changing from time to time. So once upon a time, one contemporary philosopher, great mind, he's called Jiddu Krishnamurti. He made a very solid remark about life, which caught me like lightning. He said, life is a movement in relationship. Now, the catch here is, or the understanding is movement in relationship. So if you take this premise, if you take this as a fact, भाई जैसे बोलते हैं रिश्ते के बीच यात्रा या झलक इन रिश्तों में. So if you take this as a premise, then the quality of your life will be dictated by the gracefulness of this movement. So when we enter life and we interact with people, we always hope that there will be joy, happiness, harmony. But in real life, it doesn't happen that way, right? Our relationships get jolted, it gets unbalanced for several reasons. For example, the main culprit or factor is clash of egos. The question of I, me, mine. If that is too much in a person, then that person clashes more bitterly with people. Then we have misunderstandings in communication, like it's called verbal delusion. What I want to say, you are unable to understand, you think differently. So this causes misunderstandings. Now the entire world is pitted in misunderstandings, and misunderstandings create conflict. Then we have another factor is that we are unable to decipher or decipher the intention of the other person, what he's trying to say, what he's trying to convey, and why is he saying. So this causes a lot of grievances and grudges, especially amongst children. Children are unable to understand the intent of the parents or the elders, and they hold it to heart. इसने मेरे को मारा क्यों, इसने मेरे से खिलौना छीन लिया, तो ये they take that hostile experience in their life, and instead of becoming a boon, they become more of a pain because they are not able to understand the the intention, the beauty of the parents' thought process. So anyway, and then we have a lot of information coming from outside, which we call external vibrations from negative people. So this keeps on causing unbalance in your mind. So in that case, what is the solution? What do we offer to the people to maintain their cool, maintain their joy, and maintain their happiness? Now, last time we had mentioned that happiness is a very whimsical phenomena, and it doesn't stay at the apex. It reaches the apex in good mood, good cheer, and then tumbles down into the valleys of your subconscious mind. Now, if your subconscious mind does not have the proper sanskars, or rather, if you have vikars, opposite of sanskar is vikar, then what happens? Your mood gets into a depressive attitude. You fall into phobias and paranoia. So now, in order that you don't fall into the whirlpool of your negative sanskar or negative vikars and maintain your peacefulness, what the saints and sages have advised us, you have to build a plateau of peace in the subconscious mind, brick by brick. And that brick means ideas with nuance of wisdom and which reflects wisdom inwardly and externally. So today I'm going to share with you a, a, a- an idea or an extract of Sage Narad and Sage Angira, who had advised the king in India many thousands of years ago. And I'll read out to you the English translation. And I would advise all the viewers to understand this very carefully to avoid all pitfalls in your relationship. So he said, Sage Narada said, Hey Rajan, all worldly relationships are strung together with the threads of selfishness, ego, sensual urges, desire, expectations, ambition, fear, and greed. So, this is a saint whose experienced thousands of years have made this remark and sutra for our understanding. And then he says, Rajan, these threads are weak, which is why they keep on breaking. Therefore, there is no stability in worldly relationship. This you have to understand this. A person who expects to find stability in worldly relationship is termed as ignorant and remains a victim of worry and pain. But he who discharges his duty without any attachment, but with affectionate detachment, doing them for their own sake, and who maintains the realization that life, the Lord of life, becomes established in the highest state of yoga. So, and having done so, he attains peace and tranquility. So, this is one brick which I'm sharing with you today. Perhaps in other sessions, we will collect more such bricks. So, once we are able to understand this and treat life not so seriously, we can make our plateau of peace more easily, strengthen ourselves, and continue to remain joyful and happy. Now, I will welcome, please welcome all. Can you bring in all the, yeah, I would like to welcome sincerely our guests of honor and the panel speakers, Hina and Rashmi, or Vashi, with this traditional Doha. And Kabir Sahib says something that uh, rhymes and rhymes with our talk that I've given about relationship. What he says, दिल का मरहम न मिला, दिल का मरहम न मिला, जो मिला सो गर्जी. कहा कबीर आसमान फटा, क्या कर सके दर्जी. Now what it means? He says in English, we say, one who can heal, I could not find, except those with selfish strength. Now, if the sky were to explode and tear, can a tailor stitch its rent? Not possible, right? So Kabir Sahib says that it's very, very rare to find a person who really has got compassion in the heart and who can really, what you call, take care of your problems in a compassionate way. So, this is the meaning of it. So, with this, I will now request Urvashi to please go ahead and start the show with Q&A session. And I'll come 10 minutes later to end the show. Good luck to you. God bless. See you later. Bye. Go ahead, Urvashi.
Hari Om Dada, thank you so much for those enlightening words. It's definitely something that our rishis have said, and even the Bhagavad Gita says that if we can perform our duty without attachment and we can have a detached love for others, we will always be happy. So thank you for that
Thank you.
reminder.
Thank you, dear.
So I would like to request now Rashmi, Hina, sorry. Hina will now take the
Okay,
first
go ahead.
question to Dr. Vedavati on diabetes.
नमस्कार डॉक्टर साहब.
नमस्ते हिना जी. नमस्ते.
आपको आज शो में देखकर बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है एंड वी आर फॉर्चुनेट इनफ टुडे टू get knowledge and answers of our queries on the topic of diabetes. Nowadays, we are many times we get confused, day-to-day life. I think this question of ours, which we are having with us, will solve problems of many. So First of all, thank you, doctor, for being with us. And I would like to ask few queries which are in my mind from few days that I want your permission to ask that.
Please go ahead, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Doctor, there is, doctors say there is nowadays we hear a word type 2 diabetes. No? So I just want to know what is the difference in type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes, please.
Hina ji, a very important question which many patients they ask us on day-to-day basis in our OPDs. First of all, let me sincerely thank Mr. Dayal ji for inviting me here, and I am very happy and pleased to meet all of you in the show. Now we will start with basic ABCD of diabetes. So what is diabetes? It is high blood glucose level. खून में शक्कर की मात्रा ज्यादा होना. So we all have glucose or sugar in our blood, but in diabetes, it is more than the required amount. You rightly asked me what is difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. So why does diabetes occurs? So in human body, at the level of umbilicus, we have a horizontal organ which is called as pancreas. In pancreas, there are beta cells which produce a very important hormone called as insulin. आपने सबने इंसुलिन का नाम सुना होगा. सो इंसुलिन
G.
हार्मोन का काम है टू कंट्रोल अवर ब्लड ग्लूकोज लेवल्स इन द टारगेट रेंज. तो ये इंसुलिन का काम जैसे कम होता है वैसे खून की शक्कर की मात्रा बढ़ती है. ये जो हमारे खून में शक्कर है उसका काम है हमारे पेशियों को ऊर्जा देना. बट डायबिटीज में वो खून खून में ही शक्कर जमा होती है. इट डज नॉट रीच द सेल्स वेयर इट हैज टू बी यूटिलाइज्ड एज एनर्जी. सो ये इंसुलिन का काम कम होने से डायबिटीज होता है. नाउ टाइप 1 डायबिटीज का मतलब ऐसा है कि जो पैनक्रियाज में बीटा सेल्स है इंसुलिन पैदा करने वाले वो किसी कारण से नष्ट हो जाते हैं. बीटा सेल्स ऑफ द पैनक्रियाज आर डिस्ट्रॉयड एंड हेंस पेशेंट के ब्लड में देयर इज नो इंसुलिन. In type 1 diabetes, there is zero insulin production in the body, usually seen in small kids, and these kids have to take insulin injections for their glucose control. Type 1 diabetes is as such rare to type 2 diabetes. What is type 2 diabetes? It is common form of diabetes. It is seen in adults. And to give example, see, if I have 100 insulin in my blood presently, a patient with type 2 diabetes also will have 100 insulin, but effect would be 50%. So in type 2 diabetes, there is insulin production in the body, but the effect is less. So two major differences: in type 1, there is no insulin production. In type 2, there is insulin in the blood, but effectiveness is less. यानी इंसुलिन की मात्रा 100% है बट इफेक्ट इज 50%. हेंस ग्लूकोज लेवल्स आर हाई. एंड व्हाई इज इफेक्ट लेस? बिकॉज मे बी द पर्सन इज ओबीज. मोटापा, ओबेसिटी से इंसुलिन का इफेक्ट कम होता है. देन स्ट्रेस लेवल्स, these days we see lot of stress going around. Stress levels will reduce insulin action. No exercise. It is said that exercise is the best form of therapy for type 2 diabetes because exercise improves insulin effect in the body. And definitely genetic, means genetics also plays role. Those kids or those people whose parents have type 2 diabetes, the kids have more risk of getting type 2 diabetes. In type 1 diabetes, there may not be any history of diabetes in the family. Usually the scene is there is no history of diabetes in parents. A small kid, maybe 8-10 year old, will have some viral infection. The body will try to kill those viruses and unfortunately will kill beta cells also, which are producing insulin. And hence type 1 diabetes occurs. टाइप 2 डायबिटीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज ऐसी है कि टाइप 2 डायबिटीज कैन बी रिवर्टेड बैक with good diet, with good exercise, with stress management, with tobacco cessation, with weight loss. Type 2 diabetes remission can occur, but type 1 diabetes, the patients have to take insulin injections lifelong. So they have to be friendly with insulin injections and it cannot be completely remitted. So this is the main difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Hope I could answer your question.
Yeah, very nicely. And so, in simple words, you have explained everything. Thank you, doctor. I would like to ask second question. What are the most common attended complications on alignments of organs on metabolic damage to system in diabetes?
So very important question. One is, what are the common complications seen in diabetes? Many of the times when patients come to us in the OPD, their glucose levels are 200, 250 and they don't have any symptom. They say that, doctor, I don't have anything. So why I have to control my diabetes? So diabetes needs to be controlled to prevent future complications. And we have to remember one thing, that glucose levels fasting above 126 and post meal above 200 is not good for some of our organs, like eyes. The retina, which is the layer of the eye, is basically gets affected with long duration diabetes. This is called as diabetic retinopathy. In such patients, the vision can gradually reduce. So retina or eyes can be affected. Very high glucose levels, we always tell our patients that when your glucose levels are 200 plus, kidneys, they don't like it. So diabetes can affect kidneys, which is called as diabetic kidney disease. We all know a test which is called as serum creatinine. So it is a blood test which tells us about our kidney function. So if creatinine is high and there is protein loss in the urine, it indicates that diabetes is causing some kidney problem and we need to rectify it. So diabetic eye disease, diabetic kidney disease, and very importantly, diabetes, when not controlled well, glucose levels are above 200, can affect nerves in the body, which is called as diabetic neuropathy. Very commonly, the symptoms of diabetic neuropathy, they are seen in the feet, the lower limbs, where patients, they complain of burning sensation, tingling sensation. They feel that the feet are insensate. Even if they are walking on the walking without chappals, they feel as if they are walking on the cotton. So the sensations are less. There is burning, there is tingling in the feet. Then patients will have severe pain in the lower limbs, cramps in the calf muscles. So these are symptoms of neuropathy. And if not attended well, the neuropathy can progress. Neuropathy can also be seen in gastrointestinal system, affecting the stomach and the intestine. So those patients may face problems with constipation, loose motions alternating. So these are very common complications seen in diabetes. Other complications which are commonly seen in diabetes are related to heart, which we commonly see as heart attack, then stroke, and reduced blood supply to limbs, mainly the lower limbs, which is also called as peripheral arterial disease. So these are common chronically seen complications in diabetes. So we always tell patients that we are controlling your glucose levels not just for today, but we are thinking 20, 30 years down the line, where we are protecting your organs from diabetes damage.
Thank you, Dr. Hina. Please.
Yeah, there was some internet
Network
problem.
issue. You can
Yeah,
ask the third question, Hina
yeah,
ji.
yeah. Doctor, what is the connection of diabetes with liver?
Very important question. As we discussed, that diabetes affects eyes, kidneys, heart, and the nerves. But we do see many patients with type 2 diabetes having fatty liver. So, liver problems in diabetes, there is spectrum of liver problems, starting from simple elevation in liver enzymes. We all know that there are two main liver enzymes. One is ALT and AST. Normal range is above below 50, but if in diabetes there is fat deposition in the liver, also called as fatty liver. We usually see fatty liver in patients who consume alcohol. But in diabetes, the fatty liver is similar to that fatty liver disease caused by alcohol. But even if patients are not drinking alcohol, the fatty liver disease can occur. And globally, we see that more than 50% of patients with type 2 diabetes, they have fatty liver, because the excess of fat from the blood gets deposited in the liver, and this leads to fatty liver. If not treated well, it can lead to chronic liver disease, even liver cirrhosis or liver cancer. So we need to do annual checkup of our patients, where we see the liver function test, the liver enzymes, And we also do a test which is called as ultrasonography of abdomen. If it suggests fatty liver, which are grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3, if it is severe, then there is a test called as fibroscan, which will tell us whether the fatty liver disease is there or not and how severe the fatty liver disease is. We have to tell our patients, if they have fatty liver, to eat healthy with less fat, low carbohydrate, more of fibers, more of proteins, and they are advised to do regular exercise. If they are obese, then weight reduction will help in controlling fatty liver. Strictly no to alcohol. Patients with fatty liver should just stop their alcohol, because a single drop of alcohol can prove as poison to them. And we also have to educate them that they have to do the liver function test and the sonography to check for improvement in the fatty liver, because as I told you that lifestyle modification, weight loss can help improve fatty liver disease in diabetes.
Yeah, thank you, doctor. It's a very information is so good that I think many people will get so many guidelines. My next question I would like to ask: what are symptoms of pre-diabetes or diabetes which demand immediate check and diagnosis?
Yes. So, normal glucose level fasting is below 100. 2 hours post meal is below 140. And what is diabetes? Fasting above 126, above or equal to 126, and post meal is above or equal to 200. So, in between figures, when fasting is between 100 to 125, post meal glucose level between 140 to 199, and there is also a test which is called as HbA1c or glycosylated hemoglobin, which is average glucose of past 3 months. If it is between 5.7 to 6.4%, this entity is called as pre-diabetes. In pre-diabetes, the blood glucose levels are little higher than normal, but they are not high enough to be classified as diabetes. So in patients with pre-diabetes, we have to tell them that if they follow good diet, good exercise program, and reduce their weight, they can prevent or delay their type 2 diabetes. Remember one thing, that in pre-diabetes stage or in early type 2 diabetes stage, there may not be any symptom. Patient won't have any symptom. Many of our patients with pre-diabetes or diabetes, they come to us with health checkup done for some corporate or some fitness things, that if they want to join some office, they check their glucose levels. Fasting glucose is 110 and khane ke baad hai 170. So these are not normal readings, but they are not high enough to be classified as diabetes. So pre-diabetes and early type 2 diabetes, no symptom, patient won't have any signs or symptom. But when patients type 2 diabetes is advanced, where glucose levels are 300, 400, then patients will have tiredness, increased thirst, increased urination, increased hunger. So these are usually seen when glucose levels are very high. But in pre-diabetes, diabetes, patients may come as healthy as us, all of us, and they just come with their reports that, and they tell us, doctor, I don't have any complaint, but see, my glucose levels are little higher. So in such patients, we educate them that good diet, good exercise is must for them. And if they really change well, that as I told you, that type 2 diabetes diagnosed early, it can go into remission. Yes.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you. You have solved many of my queries. I thank you from bottom of my heart. And for further questions, I would ask Ms. Thakur, please continue with the session because एक minute कीमती है.
Thank you so much, Hina ji, for asking these questions. Really very interesting. Even for me, I was a lay person. I didn't know too much. So I have learned a lot. Thank you. So Dada will ask the next question. Can we have Dada Dayal on the screen? Or maybe he'll ask both his questions later at the end. Okay. Rashmi ji, may I ask you to take the next question, please?
I think we need to unmute her. We cannot hear her.
Yes.
I muted myself because there was a disturbance. So, Namaskar, ma'am, first of all, and good evening to everyone. So,
Good
I have
evening,
also
ma'am.
written down a few questions diabetes, ma'am. So first, my question is: are there any stages in diabetes like they have in cancer? So do you have like stages in the
Yes.
diabetes as well?
Wonderful question, ma'am, because many of our patients they tell us that, Madam, I have mild diabetes, so I am allowed to eat sweets. Then,
Oh,
so we always tell patient that there is nothing like mild or moderate or severe diabetes. Diabetes
okay.
can be classified into two categories. One is controlled diabetes or uncontrolled diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
Controlled diabetes is when the glycosylated hemoglobin or
Mm-hmm.
average glucose levels of past 3 months is below 7%. If patient they come to us with HbA1c of 6.2, 6.3, we call it as
Mm-hmm.
controlled diabetes. In
Sure.
controlled diabetes patient, the chances of complications are less. And if
Okay.
HbA1c is 9 or 10%, then the
Mm-hmm.
average glucose levels is about 200. We call it as uncontrolled diabetes. And when patient's diabetes is uncontrolled, the chances of that person getting complication is much high. So diabetes is controlled and uncontrolled, or diabetes can also be divided into diabetes without complications and diabetes patient with complications. So with
So,
complications, we have to remember that eye disease, kidney disease, neuropathy, these are specific diabetes related complications. And even patients they can have increased risk of heart disease, stroke, and peripheral arterial disease. So there is no mild, moderate, severe, but it is controlled, uncontrolled, without complications, and with complications.
so basically two stages, maybe controlled and uncontrolled.
Yes, that can be said. Yes.
So my next question, ma'am, to you is: why is diabetes pacing at such a rapid rate to make it a global menace? Like now, it has become a problem to
Absolutely.
everyone, whatever stage, the children and the older generation. So why it is going at a rapid stage?
Absolutely. So we all have faced COVID pandemic and we truly have suffered a lot. And we also are facing diabetes pandemic and we all have to come together to fight against this big enemy. And the
True.
hospital where I am working is a not-for-profit organization. I would be telling much more about it. Chilaram
Mhm.
Diabetes Hospital in Bowdhan area of Pune. And
All-
the team, Chilaram Diabetes Hospital team is all working to fight against diabetes.
Mhm.
Uh, Diabetes is exponentially rising globally, all across the world, and we can by and large say that one adult per 10 adults has diabetes. So around 10 to
True.
11% of patients have diabetes, and the
It's
pre-diabetes population, which will be turning into diabetes, is also very high. So we all have to come together and see. One thing is the lifestyle changes, the junk food availability for kids. Initially, you all will agree to me that our snacks and the snacks which the kids are eating these days, much difference. They have lot of refined products available, they have junk products available, they have Coca Colas and Pepsis and burgers and pizzas. So the snacking pattern of next generation should improve. We have to give fruits, we have to give cucumber, tomatoes for our kids as a snack. So it should start from us. So we will take a pledge today that as a parent I will offer a healthy snack to my kid, and these, as per Dayalji, these are healthy sanskars which we are going to imbibe in our next generation. So healthy eating pattern, then sedentary lifestyle. Kids are sitting in front of computer long hours, and their exercise pattern is now, we all agree, that is not as good as it was in initial generation. So good exercise has to be there, healthy eating habits, stress reduction is very important. We have to tell our kids also that you stay happy wherever. Don't just think about marks. These days the kids of 10th and 12th grade, they are under tremendous stress. I see my daughter who is studying in 12th grade, she is under stress. I tell her that, see, marks are, you have to give your efforts, but marks, you Rashmi ma'am, you being on such a higher position in schools, you must be facing kids having lot of stress. So we have seen type 2 diabetes in 10th and 12th grade students also, those who are obese. So stress reduction is important, and monitoring of glucose levels. So imagine if parents in the age of 50s, if they both have diabetes, kids have 90% risk of getting diabetes. So monitoring kids if they are obese, and basically if the glucose levels are in pre-diabetes stage, we have to definitely guide them for healthy diet, regular exercise, stress reduction, gradual weight loss. And hence, to prevent overall diabetes pandemic, we have to make sure that our young generation is more healthier, more fitter, more active, and they're monitoring their glucose levels frequently, at least once a year.
Absolutely, ma'am. I totally agree with you. And now my next question comes: does non-vegetarian food have any relation with diabetes? Like, can you get diabetes eating non-vegetarian, or like vice versa?
So non-vegetarian diet, I would like to divide it into two categories. One is red meat, and second chicken and seafood, maybe fish. So
Right.
chicken and fish, if patients eat in moderate amount, cooked in less fat, it is okay for them.
All
But
right.
remember, for red meat, we say that strict no. Red meat has a lot of saturated fats, which reduce the insulin action, which increase the glucose levels. And these saturated fats in the red meat also increase the risk of heart disease because they lead to blockages in the coronary arteries which supply to the heart. So remember, the fats are healthy fats and unhealthy fats. The saturated fats are fats which are solid at room temperature, like we see ghee, like we
Hmm.
see butter. These things are solid at room temperature. They are not at all good for us. So we have to reduce the intake of saturated fats. And unsaturated fats are seen in oils, which are liquid at room temperature. Unsaturated fats are also seen in dry fruits like almonds, walnut, which we see, then flax seeds. They are unsaturated, they are little healthier fats. So
Okay.
red meat for non-vegetarian intake, absolutely no. Chicken and fish and egg white can be given. Better to avoid egg yolk, because one egg yolk will give us cholesterol of whole day. So
Okay.
better to avoid egg yolk when diabetes patients wish to eat non-vegetarian food.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much. My last question, ma'am: what percent of bad nutrition plays a part in the development of diabetes?
It is a
Bad
major
nutrition plays
proportion, very major proportion. I would say that if we really think about diet, there are lot many aspects which we can improve. To tell you very frankly, when I joined Chilaram Diabetes Hospital, I was not aware about many nutrition facts which I learned here. A simple thing that whatever meal plate you are eating, divide it into three parts. 50% of your meal plate of breakfast, lunch, and dinner should have fibers with lot of vegetables, salad, soup. 25% should have proteins and 25% carbohydrates. Carbohydrates we all eat in lot of portion. We have to make sure that we are eating fibers, we are eating proteins and minimum fats. Many a times we tell our patients that एक लड्डू से जितना शुगर बढ़ता है उतना दो चकली से या एक समोसे से या एक बॉल फरसान से बढ़ता है. So it is not just the sweets, but deep fried carbohydrates also increase glucose levels. So the knowledge of nutrition, if patients really follow good diet, we see that patients newly diagnosed diabetes, if they follow good diet, the diabetes can go away. So
Okay.
healthy nutrition, it is not like we don't want patients to lose their pleasure of eating.
Exactly.
We tell our patients that no food item is banned for you, but its portion matters. Definitely no simple sugars. Yani white sugar, jaggery is out. Many patients they feel that jaggery is good, sugar is not good. But jaggery, sugar, honey, they are at equal proportion. So we tell our patients that five white things they have to minimize for healthy life: white sugar, white rice, white maida, then maida, white rice, white salt, and white butter. So these butter in saturated fat. So these five things they have to reduce in and eat in minimum portion.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Over to you, Urvashi, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Very
Thank you.
enlightened.
Nice
Thank
meeting
you,
all of
ma'am.
you. Let
Thank
us
you.
stay connected
Thank you
also
so
after this
much.
program.
Yes,
I
sure,
would love
sure.
that. Thank you we still have a couple of questions from Dada Dayal. So we would like to request the back end to please bring Dada Dayal back on screen.
Let us stay connected.
डॉक्टर आज से हमारे किचन की चीजें बदलने वाली हैं.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure.
Exactly.
I tell my patients that even if there is no oil in your kitchen, छौंक आप पानी में लगा दीजिए. We tell patients even if there is no white rice, it's okay, but you should have cut vegetables and sprouts as your add-on to your meals. Yes.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Urvashi, you want to ask any questions before I ask Dr. Ji? Any questions you have?
I think Rashmi ji and Hina ji have done a very wonderful job of kind of holistically
Is it?
covering everything. So I'm
Yeah,
looking forward
I
to
know.
what questions you are going to ask, because they have asked
Dr.
so
Ji,
many.
you are really brilliant. The way you have explained in such a simplistic way, and you've given us so much information that we can imbibe and improve our lifestyle. So, when I read your article, I was very much impressed by your article. It's very detailed and very beautifully written. There was one your condition you written about amputation.
Yes.
Now, I remember my grandfather had diabetes, and the doctor had told him to amputate his leg. He refused. Doctor warned him that if you don't amputate, you will pass away. And within a month, he passed away. So my question is, how does this function? What is this nerve system that gets swollen or inflamed, and why the reverse action takes place in circulation? I couldn't understand that. Can you explain to the people so that they are
Dadaji,
aware of this problem, that if they do not take care of themselves or foot ulcers and things like that, they will have to go for amputation. So this really inherently is a very dangerous, वो खतरनाक disease है ना ये.
so a
So
very important question, and at least in our part of country in India, the education regarding foot care is really very less. Why we need to take foot care in diabetes? Very importantly, that for any wound to heal, two important aspects have to be there. One is nerve supply, and second is blood supply. As we discussed, that diabetes in long term affect nerves, and this is called as diabetic neuropathy. So imagine as we are walking, we get sensations from the feet, and so we have the grip of walking. So patients with diabetes, they have long duration diabetes, the sensations are very less. You cannot perceive the normal sensation of pain, temperature. So a person with diabetes with severe neuropathy, if he is walking barefoot, if he just puts his foot on a sharp object, he won't realize that he is getting injured. Recently, one of my relatives also suffered with this. He was walking and he did not see his foot. He was not getting any sensations. And when we saw it, it had a big wound which was bleeding. And when he saw that there is blood stains on the floor, then he realized that there is something happening at the plantar aspect of the foot. So this is how patients they realize, because they are not getting pain. So if we get pain, I tell my patients that if you are perceiving pain sensation in the wound, it is a good sign. It means that nerves are there to protect you. As we have discussed that in diabetes, the blood circulation in the feet also gets lesser and lesser day by day. So if we all have 100% of blood circulation in the feet, the long duration diabetes patients, they may be having hardly 20-30% of blood circulation. So just remember that there is a wound which is infected and there is no good blood supply. We all know that for any wound to heal, good oxygen, good nutrition, and even antibiotics have to reach the wound. But when the blood supply is compromised, the oxygen does not reach the wound. There is the antibiotics which we give through either oral way or intravenous way, they don't reach the wound. And if patients with wound, if they are walking on that foot, that is a disaster. So we always tell our diabetes patients that if you have wound on foot, you should not walk. And there is entity called as complete offloading. They should just offload that foot and they should walk either by walker or they have to use wheelchair. Remember one thing, a person with wound on the foot with diabetes, if he walks, then he is walking towards the death. He has to offload the foot. Then doctors will give proper antibiotics. The glucose control have to be good, because just imagine that if glucose levels are high, the wound will have more glucose, and one bacteria will become 10, 10 will become 100. So very good glucose control, good antibiotic cover. A foot surgeon, if he says that we have to debride the wound or remove the pus from the wound, it has to be done instantaneously and aggressively. And remember that, tell all the patients known to you who have wound over the foot, they should not walk on it, and complete offloading has to be done till a wound improves. One of my relatives, he had this much of wound over the right foot, and we had to offload him. That is, he could not walk on that foot for 6 months for that wound to get better and healed. Now he is much better. Yes.
But I have a question. You got a wound in your foot,
Yes.
and you say that blood cannot go to the wound and supply fresh oxygen and
Yes.
fresh nutrients. How does it cause death? How the
See,
wound affect?
so see, patients with severe peripheral arterial disease, if they have wound and it is not healing well, we also do angiography and angioplasty. We put a balloon in the peripheral, means arteries of lower limbs. It is not just the heart which undergoes angiography and angioplasty. For improvement of blood supply to the foot, we do angioplasty, improve blood circulation for wound healing. And you said how that person dies. So imagine a person with less blood supply and a severe wound. The bacteria will produce toxins which will go into blood, and this will cause a life threatening scene which is called as sepsis. So any infection in the body, if not drained or not treated well. So why we advise amputation to patients? Amputation is advised in very critical stages of diabetic foot, where we see that the medicines won't work, any angiography plasty won't work, and patient's life is at risk. So this is called as life-threatening wound infection. So imagine a person with foot infection for past 2 to 3 months. All the necessary things have been done, but still the wound is not getting better. There is pus discharge. Patient is having fever spikes. So with all conservative methods, if the wound is not getting better, then only way to save the life of patient is to cut that wound, cut that part of the body which is causing life-threatening effects.
It's
I
quite
hope I
a
can answer you.
Yeah, it's quite a fearful thing. I remember I was a child at that time, and I couldn't understand the scientific reasoning of this foot ulcer and poisoning affecting the entire blood flow. So that's why I wanted to ask you.
Yes. So we tell all our patients that as you see your face daily in the mirror, you should see your foot also properly. You can use a mirror to see your foot, or you can ask your relative to see the dorsum aspect of your foot or plantar aspect. All the
What
foot
happens in the foot? What
is.
should you see for? What
Pardon, sir?
what are the symptoms of foot problem? Why
Yes.
should we see our foot? What
Yes, so
happens?
early in the stage, patients will have burning sensation in the feet, tingling sensation in the feet. They will tell
Okay.
you that when they are walking on the barefoot, they cannot feel the floor as such, and they in severe patients, the chappals can be just slipped off. Patient is walking and chappal is not there, and he will just see that chappal is there just few steps back. So there is no sensation at all. If the person cannot see the foot, he cannot realize what is happening.
Now, I have one question. They say that India is going to become diabetes capital of the world or something to that effect. Do you
Very
believe that?
unfortunate. Yes.
So, how many people have diabetes today? Any statistical data you have in
Yes, so
India?
In India, we have IDF projections. That is International Diabetes Federation is having projections, and it is projected that by 2045, we would be having 130 million patients with type 2 diabetes or diabetes. 130 millions, which is from last 20 years, we have doubled the figure. In 2011, it was around 62 millions, and now 130 plus millions of patients are projected to have diabetes in 2040 or so.
So, why this exponential growth?
Exponential rise. So in India, the genetic background is such that we are at more risk of getting diabetes. So it is said that unless proven or otherwise, all Indians have pre-diabetes or diabetes.
Is
So
it?
yes, so we have genes which make us centrally obese. So in India, we see that patients are lean, but they are metabolically obese. So patients, we see that many patients, they have central obesity in the form of more waist circumference, which makes them at more risk of getting type 2 diabetes. So diet and exercise components are definitely there, which are playing at the background. And education awareness, though we are having good education awareness at the urban area, the rural or patients whose healthcare systems are not developed in that area, many of the patients, they are not aware about diabetes. So the awareness, the education part of diabetes in India has to improve to a drastic level, just to curb the exponential rise of diabetes cases.
So, then in that case, uh, uh, what is the Chilaram Foundation doing to
Yes,
reduce these projections?
yes,
What are they doing? But I understand Mr. Lal uh, was awarded uh, for one innovative scheme called Hub and Spoke,
yes,
and that's a very important. So, could you mention or talk about the Hub and Spoke, uh,
yes.
aspect that you are doing, and anything else that you are doing to reduce the projection or cater to this problem, horrendous problem that we are all facing?
To answer this lovely question, I would request you to tell me the time, because I can just talk and talk for hours together.
We still have 5 minutes more.
Okay, thank you. So, to tell you upfront, I am a blessed and proud member of Team Chelaram Diabetes Institute. I am working there since last 12 years, and our leader, our chairman, Mr. Lal Chelaram, he has a vision and mission to create a global impact in the field of diabetes. So
Okay.
we are based in Pune, and Chelaram Diabetes Institute is part of Chelaram Foundation. We have four pillars. Very important is patient care, where we have state of the art facility for OPD as well as in hospitalized patients who have diabetes. Main motto is to educate them, to make them aware. And we also have all the multi speciality services which are offered for patients with diabetes. Like we have dialysis facility, we have cath lab, we have cardiology department, we have ophthalmology department. So patient care definitely is important. Second, we have research. We do have a research foundation where we are motivating young researchers which are coming up with their various ideas related to diabetes research. Then we have education and awareness. We have Diabetes Health, one of the very popular magazines regarding diabetes. Then we, as you rightly asked, that we have a program which is called as outreach program, where we have tailor made mobile vans which are going into villages, and they are educating and making people aware in the rural areas. We have basically, Dayalji said that there is hub and spoke pattern. So imagine one district where our mobile van goes. This is called as hub, and it will move to nearby places every day. So our team with a doctor, nurses, and a driver, they will imagine one area near to Pune, which is called as Shirur. So the
Hmm.
van would be staying in Shirur for 1 month. They will wake up in the morning. The team will go to nearby village. They will screen all people for diabetes. They will screen pregnant ladies for diabetes, because we know that in pregnancy, if diabetes is controlled well, it can prevent diabetes in the future offspring. So preventing diabetes by diagnosing gestational diabetes, pregnancy induced diabetes is important. Then in rural areas, our mobile team goes and educates people for foot care, because we know that farmers, the foot care is very important, educating them for foot care. And this hub and spoke pattern is a completely not for profit work. It is a charitable work done by Chilaram Diabetes Hospital, and above 1 lakh population till today has benefits with that. And it is my proud privilege to tell all of you that the government of Maharashtra and India, they also saw our project, and they have replicated the similar project for diabetes program. So a program started by
Fantastic.
a private not for profit organization is now implemented by government to help curb this menace of diabetes.
Fantastic. It's a very commendable organization that you're working for.
So our
And
CEO,
really
Dr. A.G.
very proud.
Unnikrishnan, he's a renowned endocrinologist and our leader. And we are
Hmm.
blessed to work with all the team members, and very happy to be a part of our team. Yes.
Fantastic. Really, thank you for this enlightenment answers, which are actually emotional as well for me, because so many
Yes.
people get cured. You know, it's a great seva for the people, right? It's a service of compassion and kindness. So I don't know. So basically, the moral of the story that I understand is stitch in time saves nine,
Yes.
or prevention is better than cure. So, what would you tell the viewers in terms of prevention? How can they prevent this problem to stop exploding the way it's exploding?
Yes. So I would like to tell all the viewers that eat healthy, stay active, stress less, and love more, and check your glucose levels at least once a year for non-diabetes population. And for diabetes patients, I would just tell them that have complete faith in your diabetes team and just follow them, and you will be preventing your complications in long term.
So, would you then say that this diabetes is a psychosomatic condition or no?
Sometimes we often see that patients' diabetes fluctuates with the stress levels. So definitely the stress hormone, which is called as adrenaline,
Hmm.
increases the glucose output from the liver. So if I have diabetes and I am stressed now, my liver will produce more glucose and my sugars will increase. So definitely stress reduction, positive thinking, mental peace is important in diabetes. We have seen the direct effect of stress on the diabetes levels.
But do you advocate meditation in your hospital?
Yes, absolutely. In our hospital, we do advise them yoga, meditation, in addition to aerobic exercises.
And what about nutritious food? Is there some kind of specific nutrition for people having diabetes? Are you having that kind of nutrition kitchen or something to that effect?
We have developed a nutrition department, and we have two skilled nutritionists with us. We have a demo room where we'll be starting the demo of healthy cooking recipes, where we do see many YouTube recipes channels these days, but not all would be healthier. I do see a lot of oil being used there, a lot of refined flour being used there. So the healthy cooking recipes, we have started our demo rooms, and all
Hmm.
our nutritionists, they tell our patients to have local healthy food, which may not be
Hmm.
like having a lot many outsourced things, but which are locally grown food items available easily. People can afford it, because for nutrition, the diet plan has to be lifelong sustainable, affordable, and easily available. So not all patients might afford chia seeds or avocados or broccoli in this part of Maharashtra. So
Hmm.
all greens which are grown here, all patients, we advise sprouts and dals to increase protein intake, because not all will be eating non-vegetarian food. So local healthy diet plan is given to patients, which usually works in the most patients.
So when you are able to start this program, so can you share it with the people on YouTube at this
Yes,
particular
we,
type of
we definitely
recipe,
we,
so
we
that everybody
definitely
will get the knowledge of
we,
what to eat, when to eat, and how to eat?
yes,
Something to
yes,
that.
go on.
Oh, that's very good then. Thank you so much. Urvashi, do you have any questions before we conclude the show?
No, I don't think so. Luckily for me, both my sides, my
Rashmi, any other questions that come to your mind?
Thank you, sir. We'll be looking forward to the videos, I mean, demo videos of cooking. What
Sure.
is, yeah,
So
so
the, uh,
we
so the uh,
forward to that.
people are more interested in the nutrition aspect of
Yes,
how
sir.
to stop or prevent
prevent.
this.
That's how you can prevent it.
So I
Yeah.
would
Tina, you have
request
a question?
I would request all the viewers to visit Chelaram Diabetes Hospital Facebook page, and they just have to follow it. So as soon as we have videos of healthy recipes, you can just follow those recipes.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay,
Sure, we'll do
Thank
that.
you.
very good. That should be good. Hina ji, go ahead.
वन थिंग आई वांटेड टू आस्क, जैसे दयाल जी ने पूछा अभी कि पैरों में ये फुट एम्पुटेशन के बारे में, तो आपने बताया कि पैरों में टिंगलिंग इफेक्ट आता है, तो कभी कभी वो ऐसे भी होता है कि नॉन डायबिटिक पेशेंट्स के बीच में भी आता है।
Yes.
तो ये डायबिटीज में की वजह से है ये टिंगलिंग इफेक्ट, या डायबिटीज नहीं भी है तो भी है, तो क्या उसका कुछ मतलब एक टेस्ट हो सकता है जिससे पता चल सके,
Yes.
और
So
क्या टेस्ट होना चाहिए?
अगर टिंगलिंग है तो ब्लड शुगर टेस्ट करना है, वो अगर नॉर्मल है तो चेक योर विटामिन B12 लेवल्स, बिकॉज विटामिन B12 डेफिशिएंसी कैन लीड टू दीज सिम्टम्स। ऑल्सो चेक फॉर थायराइड, बिकॉज थायराइड का काम अगर कम है, हाइपोथायरॉयडिज्म, दैट कैन लीड टू दीज सिम्टम्स। इवन समटाइम्स सिंपल प्रेशर, मैं अगर ऐसे बैठी हूँ, यहाँ पे हाथ में प्रेशर आ गया तो यहाँ टिंगलिंग हो सकता है। सो सम थिंग्स आर कंप्लीटली रिवर्सिबल। Some things we have to check levels of thyroid, vitamin B12 if there is no diabetes. So, some patients, those who consume alcohol on daily basis, they may have neuropathy symptoms. So if the tingling sensations are there for long time, better to consult a physician nearby and do the test as advised.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर, थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you. So I have one last question, Dr. Z. Suppose a person's diabetes level is getting high, then he becomes vulnerable to some organ failure in the body, right? So,
Yes.
which organ is most vulnerable in the body to sugar, excessive sugar? Is there
So
any,
three organs are very vulnerable. One is retina in the eyes, kidneys, and the nerves. But to tell you
and the
frankly,
nerves?
retina problem or eye problem will not give to life-threatening scenario. But
Hmm.
kidney problem, if it is advanced, patients might need dialysis or patients might need transplant. So diabetic kidney disease, diabetic neuropathy are specific diabetes related complications. But as diabetes has more risk of heart disease, stroke, and peripheral arterial disease, these things also have to be kept in the mind.
But mostly, let me recap. The first is the eyes,
Yes,
second is the nerves,
kidneys.
kidney, and third is the nerves. Nerves, where exactly? In the whole body or in
It starts
heart
in the
aging?
whole body, but usually the symptoms are seen more in the feet because the nerve length, more the
Yeah.
longer nerve, the more it gets affected or the signs are seen. So why feet? Why not hands? Because the length of the nerve is longer in the feet, hence we get more symptoms. And to tell you frankly, it is not, for some patients the genetic background is also important. So if patient's father had diabetic kidney disease, the
Hmm.
chances that the son, if has diabetes, he should screen himself for diabetic kidney disease. So genetic risk of getting complications is also there. So if a person had a father with diabetic retinopathy leading to blindness, and if that person also develops diabetes, he has to check his eyes because the genetic risk of getting diabetic eye disease is more. So this also aspect has to be taken into consideration.
So if somebody did not have any genetic predisposition, then still the eyes would be the first scapegoat.
So it is not like 1 plus 1 will be 2 in every patient, but a person means we have seen that in pre-diabetes patients also, those who have not have frank diabetes, in them also nerve involvement is seen. So
Okay.
diabetes is diagnosed when fasting glucose level is more than or equal to 126. Why this 126 number came? Because after this, the eye problem was seen in patients. So that's why this figure was taken into consideration. So in some patients, we also see that some of our patients whom the glucose levels is very high last 10 years, but the
Hmm.
organs are absolutely healthy. There is no eye problem, there is no kidney problem, no nerve involvement. And in some patients, the diabetes duration is only 2 years. And that too, not very high glucose levels, fairly controlled diabetes. But in them also, we do see kidney problem or eye problem. So, diabetes complications, though the research says that high glucose levels will increase the risk of complications, low glucose levels will reduce the risk, but some predisposition, like patients who are smoking, the
Hmm.
smoking increases the risk of kidney disease. Patients who have high blood pressure along with diabetes, if high blood pressure is not controlled, the kidney disease part or heart disease part would be more. So by and large, we have to make sure that good diabetes control, good blood pressure control, weight control, good cholesterol control, no smoking. These are the healthier ways to prevent the complications.
So do you have in your hospital associated uh, aspects or for treating different organs? Like there could be
Absolutely.
organ failure of kidney or some nerve problem, neuralgia, right? So, do you have a treatment or doctors in your hospital for those side problems?
Yes, so we have a very good podiatry team where the podiatrists they take care of feet in patients, they educate patients to take care of foot on daily basis. We have foot surgeons also. So foot
Hmm.
department is very well established. We have cardiology department where we do have angiography, angioplasty facilities for heart disease patients. We do have ophthalmology department, state of the art facilities with trained ophthalmologist for retina problem. Then we do have dialysis facility and good nephrology team associated with us. So we have all the aspects of diabetes complications managed. And our motto is one, to prevent complications. Second is to prevent progression of complications. And third is to offer better quality of life to patients who have complications.
Fantastic. So your battle guns are ready.
Yes, and now you are part of our team. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. G. Really, it was really a pleasure having you aboard with us, and God bless you and God bless your institution. I'm sure you all will do very well in the future.
Thank you
I'm
so much.
confident with Mr. Lal's, innovation and his insight and vision. I'm sure you guys are going to go from success to success. And I'd like to thank Hina ji. Thank you very much for coming and being a part of
ये
us.
हमारे लिए भी सौभाग्य की बात है कि आपने हमें याद किया, और
जरूर यार,
शायद कभी
जरूर
कभी
याद
ऐसे हो
करते हैं
जाता है
आपको।
कि ये बात करते करते ऐसे लगता है कि शायद मेरी भी मोबाइल वैन चलती है डॉक्टर साहब एवरी डे इन द मॉर्निंग एंड इवनिंग, सो आई विल कांटेक्ट यू। और ये भगवान का संकेत होता है कि इस शो में क्यों बुलाया गया है, तो शायद हम भी आपके साथ जुड़ के
Hello.
लोगों को बेनिफिट कर सकेंगे।
Correct. We have to empower
थैंक यू सो मच।
our community and society so that they lead
जी
a healthy and spiritual life. So,
जी
Rashmi Vasudevan, thank you also
Thank you, sir.
very much, and hope to see you in Pune, all of you, one
Yes,
day.
sir. Very soon. Yes,
I'll
sir.
be coming hopefully next year. And Urvashi, should we say our prayer now and conclude the show?
Yes, absolutely, Dada. Go
Join me
ahead.
in saying the prayer. Thank you all once again. So I'll end the show with a small little prayer. It's called Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya,
निरामया
Sarve
सर्व
Bhadrani Pashyantu,
प्रश्न
Ma
Ma
Kashyat.
kaschit dukha bhag bhavet.
Say it. You want to say that again?
ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So
Thank
we'll
you,
take
thank you,
our leave
Dada.
and I'll ask Pradeep to close the window now.